Rodgers threw this season, both were against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in that game where they went to bed. Outside of that, Aaron Rodgers hasn't thrown a single interception in any other game this entire season. Right now, they're a top 5 team in my estimation. I got him at number 5. Let's get to number 4 on this list. Please give it to me. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, they have dropped, even though they are undefeated. Why? Because they struggled against the woeful Dallas Cowboys. That's why, with a quarterback making his first career start, okay, with a defense that was virtually non-existent throughout this entire season, but you struggled and damn near almost lost the daggone game, for crying out loud. I can't applaud the Steelers for struggling to win that game by keeping them as a top 2 team in the National Football League, but I won't disrespect them by knocking them out the top 5. They are at number 4 on my list right now. Let's go to number 3 on the list. I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints. Why? We saw what they did to Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's one thing to beat a team that's a division rival, that's a Super Bowl contender with all of these prognostications all over the place. It's another thing to completely blitz them, to ramrod them so badly that you got the head coach calling out the quarterback. You got the quarterback looking depressed, even though he's got a supermodel in the stands waiting for him. And on top of it all, you got AB that, by the way, might need a new address, because if I'm Giselle and I'm Tom Brady, I might be rethinking about having him in the home cooking cookies for the kids. I think he might need to get an apartment. He ain't broke. Let's go to number 2 on the list. The Buffalo Bills, y'all. 7-2 on the season. Josh Allen completing nearly 69% of his passes. The Bills beating the Seattle Seahawks and dropping 44 on them to get it done. The Buffalo Bills are coming. They may very well be the second best team in the AFC, even though they got the 3rd best record behind Kansas City and Pittsburgh, of course. The Buffalo Bills are a team to be reckoned with. I got them as number 2 on the list right now, and we know why I can't put them number 1. I got to go with Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. The reigning, defending Super Bowl champions just seem to find a multitude of ways to get it done. Patrick Mahomes is a stud, but so is Tyreek Hill, so is Travis Kelce, so is McCole Hardman, so is Andy Reid, so is Eric Bieniemy and the crew. Whatever it takes, they seem to do it, having fun along the way, seemingly toying with people. Their offense is a juggernaut whenever it damn well wants to be. I've got them as number 1. Green Bay at number 5. The Steelers at number 4. The Saints at number 3. The Bills at number 2. And the reigning, defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs as number 1 on this week's list.
You got the Bills too high, Stephen A.
Go ahead, Max.
Yeah, you got the Bills too high. Look, the Bills have a couple of losses on the season. Yep. You know, the Saints, when you look at the losses the Saints had, they were early season losses while they were still figuring it out. They were to good teams, or at least in the Raiders' case, hot teams, right? The Raiders then beat the Chiefs. The Chiefs' only loss on the season.
That's right.
And the Bills are a very good team, but the Saints are really being slept on here. Look what happened when Drew Brees you always talk about no weapons here, no weapons there. Look what happened when he got his weapons back. He had a lead receiver in Michael Thomas, who's great, but they were really missing a number 2 receiver all these years. They got one in Emmanuel Sanders. Then COVID hits, and everyone's hurt, and he doesn't have his complement of receivers. And the defense looks a little soft against the run, which in recent years they've been a little better at. They bring in Quan Alexander, the linebacker. They get their receivers back, and then he shellacks the team he needs to, Drew Brees, for the 2nd time this season. The Saints are being slept on, and I think it's really actually a reflection of the way people feel about Brees. They think he's old, yards per pass, it's like down through the air, all that stuff. Once again, yes, he's old, but he didn't have his complement of receivers. He has them now. They should be 2nd behind the Chiefs.
I agree with you, Max. I mean, look, this is a decent list by Stephen A. Decent. Probably his best yet, but I'm still giving it a decent rating, right? Because I'm with you. I'm with you, Max. I think Saints, Chiefs, obviously number 1. I got to go Saints too. Listen, the Saints went in and thumped Tampa Bay. And you said it best, Stephen A. They got the coach calling out Brady. Brady's looking around like he's depressed. The whole team looks lethargic. They barely beat the Giants the week before. Then they come in and lay an egg against them. But the Saints' defense was the most impressive thing about that game. Max made great points about their receivers, guys getting healthy at the right time, all those things. But their defensive front four absolutely dominated the Bucs offensive line. And it don't matter who you got, what weapons you have on the outside. If you can't protect it, you might as well put those plays in the trash. So I like the Saints being number 2. Then I'm going to go Steelers number 3, an undefeated team. And look, they played poorly against the Cowboys, right? I totally understand that. But they had just beaten the Ravens, the Titans. Like, they beat some powerhouses. They played some good football teams, and they keep finding ways to win, right? I mean, the Cowboys, again, you don't know the quarterback. He's playing better than than you think he can. The Steelers kind of probably overlooked the game, which we all do. Playing 16 in a row is tough, right? But even on your worst day, you find ways to win. So from my perspective, I look at the Steelers got to be number 3. And then I would go Packers 4. I like the Packers. I like what you said about Aaron Rodgers. I think all that you said is true. I'm always concerned when you talk about their defense and what they can do. And they did look special on Thursday night, again, against what, right? I mean, there's nothing really intimidating for you. It's a team that's decimated with injuries in the 49ers. So as you look at that football team, but I do like what Aaron Rodgers is doing. And then I like the Bills at 5. I think the Bills are a very good football team. They smashed the Seahawks. But again, we're talking about a historically bad defense. I love the game plan. They attacked them in their weakness. They made Russell Wilson look human. But at some point, what they're asking of Russell Wilson, it's just not going to be there. If you can't protect him, you can't run it, and you get behind, it's going to get ugly. We saw a little bit of it against Arizona, and then we saw a lot of it against Buffalo, but I like where Buffalo is at 5. So you got a decent list, Stephen A. Decent, probably your best yet. But I'm still got to take some shots at you a little bit.
Well, first of all, I think that I'm willing to concede that you can make a legitimate argument about flip-flopping the Saints and the Bills. But I think it's absolutely blasphemous for you to sit up there and talk about the Steelers being the top 2 or 3 team when they survived the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, we were a heartbeat away from lamenting how pathetic that loss would have been to the Dallas Cowboys because of how horrid the Dallas Cowboys are. I think the only thing you can say about the Dallas Cowboys right now is that they ain't the New York Jets. Okay? That's really about it. So for me, I like my list outside of that slight modification potentially between the Saints and the Bills. The bottom line is I like my list very much. I think it's apropos. I think it's on point.
All right. Jeff says the list
Steelers,
is okay.
your
so
team.
The list is
That's
okay.
the only undefeated team in the NFL.
Because I'm after the Super Bowl. I'm after the chip. I'm not trying to. I'm not Mr. Mediocrity like Max. I'm not interested.